Good morning, everyone, and a warm welcome to you all of you. I'm thrilled to stand before you in distinguished virtual gathering as your host for today's webinar on being a productive monk. Today, we are embarking on a journey of exploration into the secrets and wisdom of monks, learning how is disciplined and focused lifestyle can enhance our productivity and bring us closer to inner peace. Before we proceed, I, your host for today, Venkata Hemant Leddika, on behalf of SEMS Foundation, would like to take a moment to express my sincere gratitude to each one of you for joining us from various corners of the world. Your presence enriches our collective learning experience, and we are excited to have you all here today. As we delve into profound topic of being a productive monk, we are honored to have an exceptional speaker, Mr. Naveen, guiding us through this enlightening session. With over 20 years of experience in IT industry, he is widely regarded as a humble, highly energetic, and approachable leader. As a function agnostic process and a product manager, he is passionate about contemporary technologies, product development, process launch, organization development, change management, and digital transformation. Now, without further ado, I invite you all to join me in giving a warm virtual welcome to our esteemed speaker, Mr. Naveen, who will inspire us with his insights on being a productive monk. Let's embrace this opportunity for learning and growth together. Currently, he plays a crucial role in the business transformation team at Diebold Nixdorf, where he instills a culture of continuous improvement, drives processes efficiencies, develops employees, and achieves cost savings through automation and strategic programs. Beyond his professional remarkable journey, he is a respected mentor, shaping the careers of young and mid-level professionals, guiding them to reach bigger goals and realize their full potential. His belief in power of networking and collaboration is evident as he actively seeks speakers from the diverse backgrounds to join the guiding voice and share their knowledge with global audience. With such a dynamic and experienced speaker leading us today, I am certain that we are in for an enlightening and transformative session. Now, without further ado, I invite you all to join me in giving a warm virtual welcome to our esteemed speaker. Over to you, sir.
All right. So, good morning, everyone, and good afternoon, good evening, just in case if you have joined from other parts of the world. And I'm truly excited to deliver this session on Productivity Monk. And rather than calling it as delivering the session, I would say in engaging this session because I would like to make it as interactive as possible. So, request you to ask questions, or if you have any thoughts that reciprocate with you, keep them coming through chat window. That way we can learn from each other. Okay, so I generally begin my sessions with a question, okay, related to that particular topic. So here comes my very first question. Okay, so feel free to answer. Okay, what comes to your mind by looking at this picture? And again, there are no right or wrong answers. Just that what comes to your mind. Keep it coming in the chat window before we get into the conversation, and I'll let you know why this is important in the due course. Are you all excited? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So please keep the responses coming in the chat window, and I'd be happy to see what you guys are thinking about this comic.
So, may I?
Yeah, please go ahead.
It seems like a difference between two sets or patterns of persons, with one who is having knowledge and one who is have like lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
Like the one
Yeah.
person is literally talking about, hey, you're supposed to use these wheels. The other person, okay, whatever the situation it may be, will may handle with it like that. Someone.
Yeah. And do we come across this kind of situation in our in our daily life?
Yeah, sometimes it happens. It seems like all the time we have no clue with the new turnings or the new phases of life. Already, if you people already they have some experience regarding this, so it depends
Right.
upon the level of perception. If we are entering into the new phase, we may think that okay, better we gonna do it in this phase. Some people may say,
Yeah.
hey, it's already done, better you opt or switch for this option. So It depends. It depends upon the
Right.
situation and how we tackle the level of perception and how to mingle in the
Mm.
conversations.
Right. So this is a general scenario wherein if you are trying to question the status quo, people say, "No, I'm happy with what I am doing," and they try to work hard,
Yeah,
right? Than required. That is the essence of this comic or this image.
yeah,
But normally, if we are open to change, if we are able to embrace change, then wonders happen because this guy is trying to pull the cart with the square pegs, and
exactly.
it involves a lot of hard work. Rather, if it is replaced with the round wheels, his life will become easy. But he's ignorant, right? Likewise, many people work in this mode, saying that okay, I don't want to embrace the change. Let me go ahead with whatever I have, or with whatever I'm good at, right? That is something which will hinder the productivity, right? So on
Yes.
that context, I'm going to share certain tips as well as tricks in terms of how can you do more with less. And before we move forward, I have one more question. Okay, how many of you think that okay, if at all we have 36 hours or 48 hours a day, it would be better? Let's be honest. Let us be honest. Did you ever think that okay, we need more time in life? Okay, Venkat does that. And remaining all of you are happy with 24 hours. Can I take that as a assumption? Okay. So I'll go with okay, no need little time, Mansa. Okay, no need little time. Okay. And yeah, what else? Who else? How many of you are happy with 24 hours? Are you happy with what you're doing? And are you happy with the time that is available? And are you able to deliver what is required? Maybe if you are a student, are you able to study what is required? And if you are a employee, are you able to deliver your work within the specified time? Or do you think okay, it would have been better if we had some extra 2 hours or 3 hours? Let's be honest. Okay, I'll tell you, I have a day job, and in addition to that, I host a podcast. Okay, and that's a world's trilingual podcast. The name of the podcast is The Guiding Voice, and it is also available in Telugu and Hindi. And I have interviewed 350 plus people in English, and about 20 people in Hindi, and about 50 people in Telugu, and all along with my day job. And my day job is also very demanding. I'm in a senior leadership role. And in addition to that, I train people, I coach people, and I also get 6 to 7 hours of sleep. I'm not compromising on the sleep, but still I'm able to deliver all these things because I've embraced the concept of productivity, and I am a productivity monk in the making. So today I'll give you a sneak peek into how you can also become a productivity monk in terms of making the best utilization of your time. And before that, Mansa said it is okay, we need quality of time, especially when learning something. Yeah, that is true. In fact, without having quality, I mean, we got to be cognizant of the fact, or we got to be aware of where we are spending our time, right? Once we have that accountability for ourselves, then we will definitely be able to make the best use of time. Because see, these days it is easy to make money. Okay, it is easy to, if somebody asks you, hey, can you give me some money, they may lend you some money. But if you ask their time, they say no, I'm busy, right? Because time is the valuable resource. And one problem is there are two aspects to the time. So few people manage the time effectively. They work on something productive. They launch their own product or they launch their own company. And the other side, people are so busy with what? With social media. They don't want to miss the reels, sorry, not rules, miss the reels or miss the posts, and number of social media apps that are surrounded, right? We are in the midst of WhatsApp, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and threads nowadays, and apart from the Snapchat. And all these apps are keeping us busy. And we wanted to live in that virtual world, keeping everybody up to date or updated on what we are doing, what is happening. And we want to take a sneak peek of what is happening in celebrities' life or people that you are following, right? But are we mindful about how much time are we wasting? Can we leverage that time elsewhere, right? Can we be a productivity monk? Can we build something from scratch? Can we make a difference in the life of somebody else, right? So on that, are you guys okay with my pace and with my pitch so far, or do you want me to make any changes before we move forward? I'm pretty much okay.
It's
Okay,
perfect, sir.
thank you,
It's
Mansa.
perfect.
All right, so let's move ahead now. Before we, okay, just a second. I hope you are able to see the full screen, right, without any dialog box. Okay.
Yes, sir, we do.
Okay, so becoming a productivity monk is the topic for today. And here comes one more question. I'm going to engage you guys a lot, and especially apart from the SEMS core team, I also want responses from people who have joined to take some valuable lessons or nuggets from this session, right? So definitely we need to have some engagement from you guys. Okay. Unless and until I get some engagement, I'll not be motivated to share my knowledge and wisdom that I've acquired so far in my life, right? So be vocal, because this is a rare opportunity where you guys are getting an opportunity to talk to me. And unless and until you express, I'll not be able to understand what is going on in your mind. Okay. And also, I'll be able to better deliver by understanding your thought process at this point in time, right? Because I'm not a person who wastes my time. Okay, here if you have 30 people and I'm the presenter, and 30 into 1 hour, 1.5 hour, right? Together we are spending 45 hours of time, and we need to make best use of it. Okay, I'm very cognizant about that. So that's why ask questions and also engage in this conversation. So here comes my next question. What comes to your mind by looking at this picture? What comes to your mind? Again, there are no right, wrong answers here. I love images and I love some creative images. That's why I make sure that they are included in my presentations. Okay. So Mansa says sometimes things are invisible. We should really dig ourselves. It depends on attitude to achieve something. And Venkat says it's personality that makes us stronger. Okay. Good. And how actually it is my childhood picture. Okay. By roaming in the sun, by playing too much of cricket, I got tanned. How many of you believe that it is my childhood picture? Yes, no? Okay. So looks like we have a very silent crowd. Okay. So do you want me to tell the answer? Yes, no? Okay. Okay. So the answer is very simple. Like normally every human being, right, is born with some strength, is born with some potential. And we don't realize our strength. We don't realize our potential until we move one step ahead, until we push ourselves beyond our limits. So we are normally stronger than we think we are. Okay, that is the whole intent. And I'll make sure that you are stronger than you think you are. Okay, so by end of the session, I'm going to ask the same question, and you have to tell me whether you are stronger than you think you are, or whether you are stronger after attending this session. Okay, shall we move ahead? All right. So, like how cat seems lion, yeah, in a mirror. Yeah, that's a great analogy. Perfect. So, before we get into the productivity monk, okay, the core of today's topic, I have a slide. Okay, I was researching more about this topic in terms of how can somebody become a productivity monk. And normally you might have come across monks, right? Like Dalai Lama, and also in case if you guys are following one guy, okay, I'm trying to recall his name, Jay Shetty, right? A monk turned on entrepreneur turned monk, and again now he has become a coach, right? So what do people do, like when they take up this role as a monk, or when they get into this monastery, right? What do they do? Yeah, I think Gaur Gopal Das also, right? He's also a great monk. And what do? They're engaged in a particular activity, and they are completely into it. They're immersing completely into that particular mode, right? And yeah, as Mansa says, they're highly knowledgeable because they try to enhance their knowledge from time to time, and they make sure that they don't waste their time. They make sure that they acquire more wisdom, make sure that they share the knowledge and wisdom that they have acquired, right? So that is one mode of it. And second thing is they try to master something in their life. Okay, be it spirituality, or be it the inner peace, be it living stress-free life, right? They have a particular mode, and they get into that particular mode zone and get immersed into it, right? And Mansa says, but their level of perception and thinking will differ. That is true. And normally, if you look at some large multinational organizations, the chief executive officers, right, they deal with a lot of stress on day-to-day basis, and they have to take some hard decisions, and they have to manage their time effectively, because everybody is given 24 hours, right? But still they have a lot to do. And how do they do it? How do they make sure that they are delivering what they are supposed to deliver, right? So that's why there is a concept that is emerging in the market, and most of the CEOs follow, which is called as monk mode. So what is this monk mode? Monk mode is nothing but it is about involving the working, okay, the mode wherein people are working on certain activity or certain task or certain set of tasks with the undivided attention, without any distractions, right? And here are certain steps. Okay, if you want to embrace this monk mode, right? First of all, you need to set a goal and then schedule some dedicated time. For example, I've also co-authored a book called TGV Inspiring Lives Volume 1. And as I said, I have a highly demanding day job. But how did I embark on writing a book? The logic is very simple. Since I'm passionate about it, I spend time beyond, okay, during my late nights or late evenings. Kind of, I I set out some time between 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. kind of thing. And I make sure that every now and then I spend that particular time, and everything is calendarized, right? So if we have a goal on our mind, let's assume somebody says, okay, I want to read the book. For whatever reason, I'm not able to read. The reason is very simple. You're getting distracted. The moment you catch up, hold the book and start reading, somebody calls you, or some tring or ding happens, on some notification comes on your mobile, and you get distracted, and it will be difficult for you to get traction. So my suggestion would be, if you want to read a book, right, set it up as a goal, saying that, hey, I want to finish that particular book, and for this to happen, I'll make sure that I'll read at least half an hour a day, and have a dedicated time allotted to you, right? In terms of, say, 9:30 to 10 p.m. or 10 to 10:30, because having a goal is very important. And when you are setting the goal, make sure that there's a deadline attached to that goal. Within a month's time, I have to read this book, or in a calendar year, I have to read 10 books. And again, this is an example, depending on what you wanted to do. Like, let's assume you are a student and you wanted to get some good grades, or you are a UPSC aspirant and you want to crack the exam, okay, with some good flying colors, right? So make sure that you have a goal, and there is an associated timeline, because that is what is done in a monk mode also. And Mansa says it also depends on thirst, how eager and how dedicated towards our work. Yeah, that is extremely important for us, right? And then have a scheduled dedicated time. As I said, okay, most of the CEOs, right, they read at least one book per week. Even if you go and read about Bill Gates, Satya Nadella, right, or Sundar Pichai, all these people, right, who are leading some great multinational companies, or who have set up from scratch, right, they read a lot, because there's a lot of wisdom that can be acquired from reading, right? Even, yeah, Ratan Tata, everybody, almost everybody, right? And I've seen few leaders who read 100 books in a calendar year, just 365 days. And how it is possible? Because they have some dedicated time for that, and they are free from distractions. And also they use some technique called Pomodoro technique. Pomodoro technique is nothing but, like, let's assume you are, the way I'll tell you my own example, like the way I write something, right? If I have to write a blog, or if I have to write some content which has to be published on my LinkedIn, I make sure that I block time on my calendar and I sit on it, right? And during that time, I'll probably put my phone in silent mode, or pilot mode, so that nobody disturbs me, right? And during my work hours also, like if I'm in office, I make sure that if I'm working on some important presentation or something, I put my instant messenger in do not disturb mode. That way, I'm dedicating this time, and at the same time, I'm working with undivided attention, right? And most importantly, apart from this, in the Pomodoro technique, what they recommend is work for 25 minutes continuously, and they take 5 minutes break, right? That way, you'll be extremely productive. And next aspect is self-care, right? Again, as I said earlier, I sleep minimum 6 to 7 hours, and I work out every single day. Like every day, I work out for about an hour in the morning, and either I go for cycling or for a walk for about 45 minutes to 1 hour in the evening. Because if you are physically fit, you'll be mentally fit, and you should always be in a good shape, because that also gives you a lot of confidence, right? And you will be very active. So that is also very, very important. Self-care aspect is very important. Eat well. Again, do not overeat. Okay, and make sure that you have proper sleep, and make sure that you work out enough. Physical workout is extremely important. And I also go on hiking. I go on long distance cycling, like 100 kilometers, right? And last year, I used to cycle every single day for about 15 to 20 kilometers. Sometimes I used to stretch to 30 kilometers also. Because having that particular time, right? During that time, I listen to some podcasts or something, and I'm able to enhance my knowledge. At the same time, I'm trying to keep myself fit physically, right? And sometimes for certain people, music works well. Like when they are working with, if at all they wanted to focus without any distraction, they tune into some music and they start working. If it works, go ahead for you. Go ahead. Whatever works for you. Again, for some people, some soothing music might work. For some people, some songs might work. Like whatever works for you, make sure that you are using it, right? And then prioritize the task. Most of the times we fail to understand what is urgent versus what is important. That is the reason people struggle and they get into stress, right? If you are able to determine, okay, the way I execute tasks is very simple. First and foremost thing is, I look at what is important plus urgent and what is waiting. Okay, who is waiting for me? Like if somebody is waiting for me and somebody else has a dependency on me, I make sure that I deliver that first. Because that way, what happens is people will not follow up with you, and that is ticked off. Make sure that you work on all the activities which have dependencies with others as soon as possible. Because if you are able to finish them in the daytime, and all activities which are solely responsible by you can be done by you at any point in time. Let's assume, okay, today you have ran into too many meetings and you came back to home super tired. Probably you slept at 10 o'clock. You have an option to wake up early in the morning and finish your work because there is no dependency, right? If there is a dependency, you have to make other person also wake up. That's why don't get into that mode. Avoid as many dependencies as possible, right? And then also we got to be flexible and make sure that whatever the earlier 8 to 9 steps that we have thought of, right? Make sure you're following them diligently. I embarked on my fitness journey about 20 years back. Every single day, no matter whether I'm traveling, of course, when I'm in a flight, I don't do any activity. Like if I'm taking a long distance flight, right? Apart from those kind of situations, if I am at a relative's place also, I go to terrace and I do some warm-up exercises. Likewise, that consistency, right, is key, not only in terms of working out. Consistency is key. Let's assume you want to become an influencer on LinkedIn, right? And if you wanted to publish posts on daily basis or weekly basis, make sure that you are doing it consistently. Because if you are doing it once in a while, nobody will care about you. People think that, okay, that fellow itself is not serious. Okay, that might be one of a post kind of thing. Or make sure, if you want to become an author, right, make sure that you write every single day. Make sure that you publish a book from time to time. And if you are taking time on and changing a particular scenario, right, you are changing your genre, take time, but make sure that you announce it to people saying that, hey, earlier I used to publish one book a year. This time I'm working on a different genre. It takes 2 years, but I'll keep publishing something or the other, right? Because consistency is something what makes you different and stand out from the crowd. Okay. So this is all something what majority of the CEOs do. Okay. And whoever has embraced this concept of monk mode. So who is a productivity monk? Okay, a person who has achieved hyper productivity in their personal and professional lives. See, we come across few people, okay, who struggle to finish their education. And we come across people who have done their PhDs or double PhDs or postdoctoral, right? And we come across people who do both. They continue their education, they continue their profession. How is it possible? Because they have mastered the time. Everybody has 24 hours, but how effectively you use the time, that is going to differentiate you. For example, again, I'm not teaching something which I have not followed. Everything, every single word that is coming out of me, right? It is out of my personal experience. I have numerous examples to talk about. I pursued my master's in software system from BITS Pilani while I was working. I pursued my MBA from Symbiosis while I was working. So now I hold 2 postgraduate degrees. And while few of my friends were not able to complete even a single postgraduate degrees, they thought that, okay, it requires a lot of time commitment or something, and they did not even enroll. But I enrolled and I completed. And at the same time, I used to get good rating in the company also, right? So what I realize, if you look at the hindsight, it all depends on our mindset. If we think that we can complete it, we will complete it. All we have to do is feed it in your mind, saying that, okay, I'm going to complete this, and reward yourself, right? So likewise, and in addition to that, I've done numerous certifications, and I take these kind of sessions every now and then, and I work as a guest faculty along with day job. Why? Because I have achieved this hyper productivity by managing my time effectively, wisely, right? And you can also do it. Okay, you can also do it. So productivity monk is somebody who has achieved hyper productivity, not just in professional life, but also in personal life. I have roamed more than 10 states in India. I've been to states, United States 2 times. I've been to Dubai. I'm enjoying my personal life as well. It is not the case that, okay, this fellow is workaholic. No, we have to do everything because after all, we have only one life to do, right? And what is the story that you are going to create for yourself and how you are going to inspire next generation, that matters, right? So we have to make best utilization of every moment, then only we will be able to take it forward, right? So this is how it takes to. And what are you going to learn today, right? So first and foremost, how to stand out from the crowd by doing more with less. Tell me, how can you do more with less? And nowadays we are in the era of generative artificial intelligence, chat GPTs, bards, and then many other bots are going to come into market. It is not going to stop here. Next 1 to 3 years is going to be very interesting, and it will decide the fate of IT and ITES employees. Right? Of course, I come from the IT background, but one thing I'll tell you guys: if you don't want to be, if you don't want to lose your job, or if you don't want your job to be taken over by artificial intelligence, right? You have to stand out from crowd. How can you stand out from crowd? By doing more, by doing something differently, by being creative, right? So I'm going to touch upon a few aspects of how you can stand out from the crowd and how to be efficient and effective. What is the difference between effective and efficient? Can somebody tell me? What is the difference between effective and efficient? Again, no right or wrong answers. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to judge you. So you can feel free to answer. What is efficiency and what is effectiveness? Okay, effective, somewhat more. Okay, I'll tell you in the interest of time. Efficiency is about minimum input, maximum output. Effectiveness means how great you are doing, right? For example, I'll give you 10 minutes time and you have to build a presentation. Okay. And if you are efficient, you'll be able to build 10 slides. If you are effective, you're able to build 10 slides that have excellent content, that have some great content. So sometimes not only doing more is important, but doing more which is great is also important, right? So you got to understand the difference. Efficiency is about doing more with less. Effectiveness is doing wonderful, doing extremely good, right? That's how it happens. And then embrace the change positively. In the beginning of the session, I presented you with the comic, okay, wherein the cavemen, right? Two cavemen were trying to pull the cart with the square pegs, and one other person came and asking them to replace with the round wheels, but they are adamant, right? So likewise, so today you might wonder, do you want to feel bad, okay, saying that more and more tools are coming into market and artificial intelligence is taking over, or do you want to learn what this artificial intelligence is doing, and can I make my job easy, right? Can I make my job easy by you leveraging the technology? So which means normally people who want to be productive, right, they see the positivity in the change and they make sure that change is taken positively, and they are the ones who adapt the change first, right? And likewise, if you are in the say, let's assume if you are coming across too many technologies or too many changes, be the first one to implement those change, right? Because change is inevitable. In case if you don't change, you will become irrelevant. Okay, so when it is mandatory to change, be the first one, be the early adopter, right? Likewise. And this particular stuff is again sneak peek. Okay, I'm not going to cover, because given that we have just 50 to 60 minutes, we cannot cover entire thing. But as and when you have questions, please do let me know. And we have seen the definition already. So this person, productivity monk, strives for excellence in every possible area. Okay, in every possible area of life, not just profession, but both personal as well as professional, and make sure that this person makes best use of the time. So normally, okay, why did I pick this topic, right? Because I've seen many people struggling to complete their deliverables. Many people come to me and ask, hey, how do you manage your time so wisely? You are able to do so many things. Okay, first and foremost thing, right? People have this perfectness syndrome, wherein, okay, before I launch a post, let's assume, okay, maybe I ask somebody to create a post on LinkedIn, and they started working on it. And after a week's time, I asked, hey, what happened? He says, I have written already, I'm again revising it. It takes another 3 days. I will follow up again in 3 days. What happened? He says, yeah, I'm still refining it. Again, they says, hey, I want one more day time. Why are you doing this? He says, no, I want to be perfect. See, perfection is something which is not existing in the world today. Again, I am going to contradict. I'll talk about how to be perfect, and at the same time, how not to worry about perfection, because both are important. If you are trying to be perfect all the time, right, you will not be able to deliver anything. Rather, deliver something and make the improvement the next time you do something, right? That should be important, because normally people think, okay, I want to do this perfectly, only then I will write. You will never be able to do it, because perfection means something for somebody else. What perfect means to me may not be perfect to you, to somebody else. Rather, if you are able to deliver something on time, that makes more sense, right? And second one is procrastination. Many of us, right, get into this mode. We wanted to work on a particular activity, or we wanted to visit a particular place. We think, okay, let me do it tomorrow, let me do it tomorrow, let me do it tomorrow. And that tomorrow never comes. That is also another thing which is going to hinder the productivity. And third one, working on the wrong things. I told you, when you are acting on a particular act, when you are working on certain deliverables, make sure that you work on the deliverables with the dependencies first. If you are working on something which is a solo task during the productive time where everybody, all your stakeholders are available, okay, and you wanted to work on the dependent task after this is over, by the time your stakeholders are gone and you have to wait one more day, right? So that is also a problem. And next is too much social media consumption. Yesterday we had a Toastmaster session in our office, and one of the speakers has done some research, and he said, on an average, Indians are spending 3 hours a day on social media. And if you translate that 3 hours, okay, into number of days in a year, right, it comes to around 45 calendar days. Problem with these social media apps, again, most of these speakers might have already covered this aspect, but be mindful, friends. Social media is going to screw our lives for sure, okay, in multiple ways. First and foremost, it is eating our time. Second one, due to this instant gratification, okay, we are getting addicted to it. The moment you get a notification, you are curious, okay, I posted a picture, let me see how many people have liked, how many people have responded. And I've seen few of my people, they got so addicted, they call me and they say, hey, I posted on Instagram, can you like? Does it really matter to them? Are you really mindful about how much time are you spending on these reels? These reels are not going to feed you tomorrow. The feeds will, these reels and feeds, right? They are not going to feed you. You have to work for yourself, right? Make sure you reduce the social media consumption. Be watchful. And there is an excellent book, actually, Indistractable, by, I am trying to recall the author name, but I have read only the abstract of the book, and I have been very conscious about my social media. And I get into social media because I post content, and that too useful content. I interview people and I publish those interviews, which can help people make some excellent decisions without having to go through their own journey, right? Rather, if you're consuming some stuff which has the, what you call, morphed videos and some mixed reels and all, that is not going to get you anywhere. Be mindful, friends. Be mindful. Don't get into this, because tomorrow, in 3 to 5 years, all those that are getting hooked to the social media will start roaming around digital detox clinics. Okay, if somebody wants to make a career, please get into psychology and do this digital detox coaching or something. You'll get a lot of business. Trust me, there is a huge potential, because the secret is all the social media platforms that are being built, right? They are hiring psychoanalysts, psychologists, and some eminent professors who have done some PhDs and research in psychology, and they are building the apps so that it makes addictive, similar to how it makes an alcoholic addiction, similar to how it makes narcotic drug addiction. Social media addiction is also has become the same way. How many of you open the social media the very first thing in your on day-to-day basis? Very first thing, or probably how many of you also use your phone when you are sleeping, and how many of you carry it? To be genuine, I'm sure more than 80% of the people have the habit of opening social media first thing before even waking up from the bed, right? And Mansa, good that you are opening it once in a blue moon. That's good. And many people, okay, they carry their mobile phones until they sleep, and if they say, okay, I'm not getting sleep, let me scroll through. And unknowingly, you will spend hours of time. Yeah. Lahar, I think that's a great thing. Like, no waking, but after 1 hour. Even what I do is, I told all my friends, all my relatives, not even call me until 9:30, because I usually wake up between 7 to 7:30, or sometimes 7:30 to 8. But I keep telling my friends, whoever it is, I tell them, call me only after 9:30, because I don't touch my phone. And even before going to bed also, I make sure that my mobile is not touched for at least an hour or 2 hours, because we have to minimize the technology usage. Okay, don't Many people think, okay, fear of missing out. Boss, you have one mode is enough. You don't have to be communicating in multiple modes. And these days, people are working on 2 SIMs, 3 SIMs, 3 WhatsApp accounts. Why? They're again same set of people. It is not that you're having different set of people, right? I've interviewed one guy from the States. He's the CEO. He maintains 3 phones, but he has a reason for it. Work phone will be switched off after Friday, and his personal phone is switched on only during the weekends. That makes sense. And for that, you have 2 different numbers. But what are common people doing? They are maintaining 2 SIMs and they're giving to everybody, and they're checking this WhatsApp and that WhatsApp. How much time are you spending, guys? Please be mindful. And next one, because of too much time, let's assume on a given day, if everybody has 8 hours, this person is spending about 7 hours, okay, chit chatting and being on social media, and he has only 1 hour to complete on the delivery. What happens? Suddenly gets into stress mode. Oh my God, I did not do anything. And that leads to panic. That leads to burnout. And now he has to work throughout the midnight. By that time, all the stakeholders have gone. Come on. Why the hell are we getting into this kind of mode? Can't we be proactive by making our time, the best utilization of our time, right? And last but not the least, people are not worried about their physical fitness. They eat too much of junk food and they consume too much of content and they don't meditate. Of course, even I don't meditate, but I have my own ways of maintaining my physical and mental fitness. I watch movies once a month in the theater, and I go on a walk. I take a walk in a park. I make sure that I go to some embrace some nature, right? That is going to lead to some mental fitness as well, right? So likewise, these are the things which are going to hinder the productivity. And how can you do more with less? As I said earlier, first and foremost, you need to focus on essential tasks and prioritize them and embrace the minimalism. You have to use technology for good reasons, and automation tools can also be used for good reasons. Okay, don't use technology and tools for wrong reasons. If you are able to make right, there are so many tools that are available in the market today which will make you productive. All you need is little bit of patience searching them and use them. Then you will be able to do more with less also, right? Next one, being effective, right? Again, time management. All I would say is make sure that you are mindful about your time on a given day, right? At the end of the day today, you can start it maybe at 8 o'clock in the night. You pick up your notebook, okay, and a pen, and note down, okay, when did you wake up? What did you do? How much time you spent? Okay, because people lack that particular accountability. They don't maintain this kind of, they don't perform this kind of audit. That is the reason they waste a lot of time on unnecessary things and they struggle when it comes to work. And avoid multitasking. I would not recommend avoid multitasking because again, I'm of biased opinion, but people these days say somebody can work on a single task at a time. I can work on multiple tasks at a time. It all depends. But if you think, you have to observe whether it is working or not working. Sometimes it may not work for certain people. In that case, you can get into this isolation mode and work on a particular activity and pick one after the other, right? So you have to assess yourself whether multitasking is working for you or not. Then only you can move it forward. And embracing positive change. As I said, always change, right, happens for a reason, and change is inevitable. And treat this change as an opportunity for improvement. And there are two mindsets, right? Growth mindset and the regular mindset or the fixed mindset. In the regular mindset, what happens is people always get into negative mode. Okay, this is happening bad. This is not good for me. Whereas if you start looking at the positive side of things, right? By inculcating this growth mindset, then we will be able to unleash the opportunities and see the other side of it, right? And also encourage the culture of continuous improvement. This is also one more important aspect. And building resilience. Sometimes we come across some problems, but how can you bounce back? How can you learn from failures? How can there is a saying, right? Raising from the ashes, the phoenix, right? So like we should be like that. If we come across failures, right, don't treat them as fatal or final. Failures will give us an opportunity to start again afresh without any problem, with some new ideas, with some fresh energy, right? So embrace challenges as learning for opportunities, and also cultivate mental toughness, because as and when we start cultivating this mental toughness, it will help us become more strong, and we start seeing things as they have to be seen. Because many a times we try to magnify some problems and imagine ourselves saying that this problem is humongous and I'll not be able to deal with it. No, take a pause, repeat, take a pause and see, is that problem really something which is in my control or not in my control? If it is in my control, worry about it, fix it. If it is not in your control, ignore it. move on, find out the solution. Also, most of the times people worry about the problems only without thinking about the solution. My recommendation is, if you want to stand out from the crowd, think about the solutions, because not many people focus on solution part. Very few people focus on the solution part. If you are one of them, then you will stand out from the crowd. Because in the office settings also, right, whenever some problem statement is given and we get into brainstorming session, people say, yeah, somebody else proposed this idea, but this will not work here. Boss, stop that mindset. Things were different at that point in time when somebody else has proposed. Now things have changed. Leader might have changed, situation might have changed, technology might have changed. So many things. And why you are still glued to what has happened in the past? Let us give it a try. That should be our mindset, right? So this is about your building resilience, and then leveraging the resources. If you have team members, right, try to identify their strengths and assign or delegate certain tasks to them, and make sure that you encourage creativity and also innovation. And most importantly, if you are able to build good network, right, and then you can find a lot of resources who can help you out by encouraging this collaboration, right? So likewise, we have to do in today's world is, we should know who can do a particular job the best and rely on them, because sometimes delegating is great and works really well. People have the fear, okay, saying that if I do it myself, I'll do it 100% right. But if you set the expectations clearly and communicate effectively, you can get the work done by other resources also, right? So you need to leverage the resources wisely. And then effective communication, again, this is key for almost everything. We got to understand the requirements well, whatever somebody is asking, and paraphrase them, and also be empathetic and try to listen actively. And most importantly, effective communication leads to building strong relationships, because relationships are something very, very important, not just on the personal front, but also on professional front. You know what happens in the corporate career? Once you cross this 15-year benchmark, right, it will be extremely difficult for you to make a job switch unless and until you have strong references. And how can you get strong references? By establishing good working relationship. And how can you get good working relationships? By being transparent in communication, by building that particular rapport with the team members, right? So likewise, effective communication will take you a long way. Next, continuous improvement. As I said, like today, let's assume you are able to build a particular slide in 1 minute. Next time, can I build the similar slide in 45 seconds? That should be our focus, right? Which means you are able to assess something and see, okay, I'm doing this in X time. Can I cut that down by X minus 10 or X minus 20%? And also, most importantly, seek feedback from people around you and implement that constructive feedback, right? And if you are able to, let's assume you got 3 rating out of 5 this year. Do you want to continue in that 3 only? Next year, you have to strive for 5. Then at least you land in 4. And again, next year you strive for 5. You'll reach 5. And after that, you be consistent. Then only you'll get promoted, right? Promotions will not happen just like that. In one of my previous organizations, I got promoted 8 times within the span of 11 years. How? By doing super good, right? And it is possible for you as long as you are accountable for yourself. You don't have to do it for somebody else. Okay, saying that I want to flaunt on my resume, or not that. I want to go there to make a difference. You need to have that clear purpose. Then you'll be purpose. When you are purpose driven, you can achieve wonders, right? So any questions before we move forward? And as I said so far, right, everything might sound preachy and everything. Okay, we are to follow the steps, but be aware, obstacles will also come in your way. And how you treat the obstacles also matters. Like you need to treat them positively. Okay, make sure that you embrace the challenges as the opportunities, and be persistent and stay determined. Then you'll be able to make it forward. And last but not the least, you need to, is being perfect the only real success? No, not really. Not about that. It's all about what stage of your life you are. So success means something to means different things to different people. For example, if you ask me what success was 10 years ago, I would have told getting that X leadership position. But today, if I talk about success, how many lives I can impact, that is success to me. So you can also, a definition of success changes in everybody's life from time to time. Okay, there is no definitive answer. And all we have to do is make sure that we are creating some positive impact for people around us, right? It is not just about, I'll tell you, somebody might, I have a few friends, okay, who earn like 4 lakhs, 5 lakhs per month, and they don't even pay a single penny of tax because they are into some business, unorganized business. But they don't have family time. They never go on vacations, right? Compare them to me. Maybe I'm not earning that much money, but I have a balanced life. I have reputation saying, okay, this person is working for XYZ company. and earning some decent amount, not as much as them, but I go on vacations, I roam around, I do this, right? So if you talk to them and ask them, they will say, I'm earning 5 lakhs, that is success to me. If you come to me and ask, I'll say, I want to balance both. I want money and at the same time I want to be happy. Because if I'm earning so much of money and if I'm not able to spend time after 60 years, after retirement, I'll not have that energy, right? So success is relative. Okay, it changes from definition of success changes from time to time. I'm telling you from own personal experience. I'm repeating. 10 years ago, success was like getting that program management title. But today, success is about how many lives I'm impacting, how many people feel empowered, how many people take action due to my sessions, due to my podcast. That means success to me. No matter whether they give me money or not, right? Because money will follow. As long as you are doing good stuff, money will follow you. But if money is the only purpose and you then that will not work. Right? But good question, Lahar. Any other questions? So it is important for us to celebrate the success also and make sure that you acknowledge and celebrate even how small the success is, because rewards and recognition take us a long way. And make sure that normally I'll tell you my own story. Like when I was promoted to X level, right? That happiness used to be there for me for one day only. Next day onwards, okay, I have to go to next level. That comes to my mind. And in that process, I missed the celebration part. If I look back, but that's why nowadays, as and when there is a milestone, I celebrate, right? Likewise. Now, embracing the best methodologies, like some methodologies like Lean Six Sigma, Agile, Scrum, Design Thinking, right? All these are going to help us make better professionally. But one aspect which not many people look into it is these kind of methodologies can also drive positive impact in our personal lives also. Not many people notice that, right? So this is about embracing the best methodology. I really appreciate each one of you for listening so patiently, and make sure that we stay in touch. And in case if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I can stay here for another few minutes, or else you can reach out to me on LinkedIn also. I'll share the link to my LinkedIn profile here in the chat window, if that is allowed.
That's a wonderful session. And we have some questions that we
Yeah.
need to address them.
Yeah.
And some of the questions are how not fall into the trap of perfection, but also give perfect input from our work.
Yeah. See, what I do, again, out of my own live, out of my own experience. If you look at my podcast, right, episode 100 versus episode 150 versus episode 200, there is significant difference in the way I have improved myself. So what I normally do is I make sure that the task at hand is completed. Okay. And at the same time, I try to make sure that it is not as bad as what people think so, right? So we have to get it validated by 2 or 3 friends who can be quickly responsive and take their suggestions and improve. That way, you are implementing a bit of perfection, not complete perfection. Because if you're striving for 100% perfection, you'll get lost in time and you'll not be able to deliver it. And always, let's assume, okay, you have joined a new organization and you sent a presentation. What you can do is, hey, to your manager, you can send some presentation saying that this is a draft, and immediately get into a call. Is this what you're looking for? They say, okay, no, I want some fancy fonts, or I don't want too much of text, whatever. Seek their input and then make those immediate changes and revise it, send it across. That way, at least you are not surprising them, okay, after completing the entire presentation, because that will lead to redoing everything. Rather, if you are getting instant feedback, at least you'll get that fair idea. And many times what people do is they make the mistake of getting into the task directly without understanding the problem at hand. See clarity on the problem at hand, or the ask or the requirement. Then you will be very close to their expectations. Does it clarify?
Yes, sir, that's a wonderful insight. And we have another last question. And the question is, sir, you asked us to try for feedback, but what if we have been criticized? How to overcome the negative feedbacks or negative criticism?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. So how do you take the negative feedback, right? First of all, anybody you take, right? Even it is Prime Minister Narendra Modi or Virat Kohli or any celebrity you take, right? You will have probably good number of followers and good number of detractors as well. So which means nobody is perfect in the world, right? So likewise, when you are doing something, be assured, okay, if you have 7 members as promoters, you'll have 3 members as detractors, right? Don't ignore promoters and don't ignore detractors also, because detractors, they might give you some good inputs also. First and foremost, be neutral in terms of don't get into the personal mode saying that who shared the feedback. Okay, I don't like this guy. I'm sure this guy might have given me negative feedback. If you go with that mindset and read the feedback, you'll never grow. Rather see, okay, if the feedback is really meaningful or it was intentional, deliberately trying to criticize. If it is deliberately trying to criticize, ignore it completely. But before that, be neutral. That's why what I do normally, right? I drive a lot of internal training sessions within our organization. And to make sure that all the participants share their feedback freely, I launch anonymous surveys so that the name of the person is not captured in the survey, in the feedback. And I go through the inputs. First and foremost thing, what I see is what could be done better. That I focus on. Because even if somebody don't like you, okay, in the early stage of career, what people think is feedback as a negative term. But as you grow up in the career, as you mature, right, you'll be craving for feedback. Okay, I wish somebody gives me feedback where I can grow, right? So feedback, never treat it as a negative. And again, don't attach it to a person. Try to understand the meat, and also don't take it personal. And if at all something is possible for you to incorporate some changes, go ahead and demonstrate that change and let them know, hey, you have given me that feedback and thank you so much, I worked on it. Please check out in my, let's assume somebody gave me a feedback on my accent, and I immediately started utilizing my accent, and I did one episode after that, and I shared them the link. Hey, go and watch this video or go and listen to this. I've right likewise. So feedback is valuable. Don't take it personal. Then you will not think that it is negative, and don't attach it to a person. Hope that helps.
Yes, sir. Thank you once again for being a part of this enriching webinar. Let's make the most out of this experience. Please join me in extending a heartfelt appreciation and thanks to our speaker for sharing his valuable insights and expertise with us today. Your presence and active participation have made this event truly memorable. If you have any further questions or would like to continue through the conversation, feel free to connect with us on social media or through our website. We value your feedback and look forward to hearing you about the impact of today's webinar on your personal and professional growth. Until then, take care and stay inspired. Thank you all.
Thank you guys. Have a good rest of the day. And thanks for the opportunity, SEMS Foundation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Okay.